President Obama overruled Leon Panetta and his then Secretary of State Hillary Clinton 2 years ago, and he decided not to arm the Syrian rebels. But as we all know, the president now says we should arm those same rebels. Should the president have listened to his national security advisors the first time?
I don't necessarily think so. Nobody had a crystal ball. Let's remember now the context. You had right-wing media the whole time talking about fast and furious. The president had a program, weapons got in the wrong hands, this is terrible. Can you imagine what would have happened if these so-called rebels, who by the way are chock full of Islamic extremists themselves, had taken some of those weapons, shot down an American plane, etc.? So I think being prudent, we could pretend like, oh, well, of course, it all would have worked out fine. Nothing bad would have happened, passing out weapons in the middle of the Syrian conflict. I think it's easy to look in hindsight and be an expert and a genius. I think the president was right to be prudent. We need to look forward, not backwards.
Look, Van, Leon Panetta, and no one's suggesting that we should have armed the Syrian rebels earlier when they were fewer in numbers and we actually knew who they were, and there were fewer Islamic extremists among them. No one making that suggestion now is saying, and nothing bad would have happened. That's really a false choice. The problem is we can look back and we can see very clearly that President Obama underestimated the dangerousness, the seriousness of ISIS, and made early mistakes that could have not only prevented the deaths of 100,000, 200,000 innocent Syrians, but maybe kept ISIS from arming in the way that they did over the 2 years while we were looking the other way. You don't need a crystal ball. People were saying it at the time that this would happen. So I don't think there's any way to look back and say the president shouldn't have listened to his advisors. The president did the right thing. We clearly see now the ramifications of doing the wrong thing.
But he also go ahead, I'll let you respond, Ben. Go ahead.
Well, listen. I just think this is kind of the classic thing. We can pretend now that we know what would have happened. I'm going to be very, very clear here. There is a mess in Syria right now. The so-called rebels. There's a reason that people have been very concerned. That we are still in the process of trying to vet these people. We still are not clear about some of the intentions of some of these people. Are they going to use the weapons to fight ISIS? Are they going to use the weapons to fight Assad? There's still a big, big process here. And I think the president, had the president acted, the very conservatives now who criticize him, and some Democrats who criticize him, had he acted and those weapons been used against Americans, he would have gotten slammed by the very same people.